Dude, I've got to ask, man. I think you're the only drummer that I've asked this to,
Mm,
because you're one of few that play a double bass drum. But I've played single my whole life, and
mhm,
whenever I'm at work, like we have a kit set up, and I'll just go play around. And we have DW is like there's like a relationship between our company and them, and so we have like
mm.
all this stuff from them. So I'll go grab a double kick pedal and try to see what I can do on it. But
Yeah.
my left leg does not keep up with my right at all. Like, um, what do you like when you're practicing? Like a lot of guys do rudiments with their hands.
Yeah.
Do you ever practice patterns with your feet, or is it really just like if you're going just eighths and quarters, or are you do you ever shake it up with your feet? Does that make
Uh, I,
sense?
yeah, no, it does. And I have never been one of those dudes, which I'm not against it, and I definitely would like to get better. I'm never one of those dudes that's like, that practice doing paradiddles with the feet at the same time of doing paradiddles with your hands. Like I've never been that type of guy when it comes to double bass. One thing that I have always made sure to practice on though is ending, like doing a kick pattern and like learning how to end on the left foot as well as end on the right foot. So
Mm.
that's really the only thing I've ever like practiced for double kick.
Yeah.
Really, other than doing that and like just basically just speed tests of like running in place and making sure everything's consistent,
Yeah.
uh, velocity wise. But yeah, no, I've never been super like techie with it in that sense where it's just like, oh, I can do a six roll, with the weird accents with my left foot. It's just like that's more of like an independence type of thing. But yeah, I never really got into that. A lot of the music that I got into back in like the mid 2000s that were like considered like tech metal-y,
Yeah.
um, had a lot of like kick patterns that ended on the left foot, like dig it to death, dig it to get, dig it to get, dig it to get, dig it to get, like
Right.
being like dig it, like ending on the left foot, and I got really into that. So that's like the extent of it.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
Yeah. I feel I was the guy I told you who when you asked me if I was in Houston when y'all were coming through.
Mhm.
I don't think he ended up being able to go to y'all's show, but
Oh yeah,
he
yeah.
and I were, yeah. I was like, dude, I'm talking to Steve this week, and he goes, "Dang, I wish I could have been to their show."
Oh shit, yeah.
But he and I were talking about. I sent him a song by this band, 11D7, and they had like a breakdown.
Hmm.
And while I'm talking to him on the phone while he's listening to the song, and he's like, "I feel like I know where this is going." And as soon as the breakdown came, he's a bass player, and
Uh-huh.
he called it. He called like the chunky, da 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 da
Yeah,
da da da, and then
the machine gun esque type rhythms. Yeah.
yeah, how going from the color morale in the census fail, because census fail is like I've only started listening to census fail since I discovered who you were.
Oh, nice. Super
Yeah,
new. Okay. Yeah.
and so going from like a hardcore metal band into like a pop punk scene, it seems like in hardcore and metal, the double kick is matching, or the bass player is matching the double kick, and
Yes.
there's a lot of they're very equal, I guess.
Yes. Right.
Are y'all doing kind of the same thing in pop punk, or not quite as much?
Um. Well, the census fail. Like, if you do a deep dive into that band, they're like census fail has been all types of genres,
Right.
all types, like pop punk to rock to like they've done metal. They literally can do it all.
Yeah.
Um, you just have to, like, if I took one song from each Census Fail record, you would hear the full spectrum of just it's like a sound. This song sounds like Gojira. I'm not kidding you. This song sounds like Gojira mixed with Converge, and then here's this song on the other side of the spectrum where it's like soft rock. like very, very moody and mellow, and yeah, it's a cool thing to be a part of. What was I gonna say? Uh, Shit, I just lost my train of thought. Well, the question was about
We were
like
talking about the relationship between your kick
the
and the bass
past.
player and the yeah,
Yes. Yeah, past into present.
right.
Well, it depends on like the types of songs that we're playing, but I think it's cool because the main song, the songwriter in the band now is Buddy, which is the singer. He's the original member, and I think he has a good grasp on all different genres of music. The cool thing about Census Fail is I feel like we're all like the same type of like all around musician,
Yeah.
where no matter what style of song that we're playing, we're still picking and choosing like elements. Say this is a pop punk song where it should just be kind of like open and everything, but there's like a certain element of like metal technique where like the
Right.
kick and the bass are like, like how you saying are like cohesive with each other. So we're able to kind of just like mend different styles together, and it's I love it. I have a sweet spot for when like the bass player and the kick pattern match up, and just if it's punchy and it hits at the right spot at the right time, you're just like, oh, this is cool. So
Yeah.
then you bring that into like other genres that don't do that as much,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like a new and a fresh thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy all the different styles of it, and I think Census Fail does a good job with blending everything.
Yeah. I who was it? I saw a video of I can't remember his name, the drummer for Neck Deep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Danny.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Once again, everyone knows. Yeah, I know. I've
No.
met him. I know. Yeah.
Okay.
We know who he is. Yes.
I see his chops because they're like, I was talking to an engineer here and he was like, I'm so ready for rock and roll to make a comeback. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, it's not dead, but it's not thriving. And I was like, you think so? He's like, yeah, pop and hip hop are among the most listened to genres of music right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about that with pop punk because I grew up playing pop punk, and Reliant K was like what got me playing drums.
Yeah,
which is crazy to do a podcast with Dave now, and
which is cool. I'm a big Reliant K fan, so
right
that's
on.
very cool. Yeah. Shout out to him for being awesome.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny. Like when I interviewed him, I was like, holy crap, I'm about to interview the drummer that got me playing drums.
Yeah.
And now we like host this podcast together and like talk every week and stuff. And I'm like, man, what a crazy
life
time
is funny sometimes, man.
lapse. Yeah. But what I was saying was like the fact that pop punk was so big, like even bands like Simple Plan and Sum 41, like they're still like doing their thing. But it seems like for a while, a lot of those bands were like what everyone listened to, and now it's like diehard fans, and and like But I was watching Neck Deep, and I was like, they're one of the few bands, along with Census Fail, that are keeping pop punk alive, so that whenever it makes its comeback, I think whenever like overall it makes its comeback, those bands are going to be like, you guys are really going to be on top of things.
Yeah, sure.
But mentioning Neck Deep, like not only their songs being pop punk, but watching Danny, I think so, we'll call him Danny, but seeing his chops, like you said, you can see where he like mixes in most of its pop punk beats and things like that, but his kick patterns and even their bass player, they'll throw in hardcore riffs that you don't even expect or whatever.
Yeah,
there's something about the rhythm section to me that I think people overlook, that like, I don't know, man, you can change the entire face of the song just by your relationship with the bass player.
We are very important.
What's that?
We are a very important piece of the puzzle that I think will never go away. I think people will always appreciate appreciate it. And I just had that moment, that realization of the bass player, drummer appreciation moment, because last night I saw Between the Bear to Me for the first time in my life,
Yeah.
which is an incredible, incredible band of musicians, and just it's just obviously they're all incredible at their instruments, but it's just something about the drummer and the bass player when those two instruments are like intact. It's just like, oh, you feel it in your guts, that low range. It's,
Yeah.
they have to be playing it well. The guy at front of house has to be mixing well. But when that like really kicks you right in the chest and in a live setting, that's what makes it special to me. So yeah, I got a soft spot for that, and that's maybe because I am a drummer. But still, I think a lot of people can agree it's just very, very, very vital piece of the big picture puzzle. Now, I don't think any of that's going away. It's in all styles of music,
Sure.
But in a rock band setting, which is how loud and like if you're in that mood or to feel a little bit aggressive instead of like listening to like other styles of drums that are a little bit mellow, it's just like, man, more people should have this in their life,
Yeah.
Come out to a rock, come on out, keep coming out to a rock show, man. You'll feel something that you can't feel at like a hip hop show or whatever. No offense. I'm not talking in any negative way about any other genre, but there's something very special about a rock metal show.
Right. Yeah. I went to Switchfoot has been my favorite band since I was a kid, and I went and I've seen them a handful of times, and I went and saw them at the Ryman last week here, and Colony House opened for them, and in the same vein, like there's something about hearing a kick drum in a live setting that the engineers just like, okay, sometimes it's really loud, or it's too loud for this setting or whatever, but the kick drum is always the first thing to kick you in the chest.
Yeah.
If you can feel it, you're in a good setting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we wrap, I wanted to talk, because I was having this conversation with a guy here about touring and preparation for it and stuff. Like I was telling you, I'm working on getting ready for hitting the road whenever that happens. And he was talking about like I have soft shell cases for all my gear, and he's like, dude, get hard cases. And taking that small thing for you, what advice would you give to drummers who are wanting to tour? I get musicians as a whole, but drummers specifically, what's touring been like for you in the sense, like, how do you prepare for it, or like your day to day, that some people may not realize goes on in your schedule, if that makes sense?
I think it's just something that doesn't get talked about is just the mental preparation of it all. It's not so much, obviously you got to physically prepare yourself to go out on the road and tour and play every night and everything like that. But it's so much of it's mental, and it's so much like you got to think you're playing your set for anywhere from like a half hour to like 2 hours a night, depending on like how big of a band you are, like how long you're set, where you're in the tour lineup. But that's such a very minute time where 23 other hours of the day you're just existing in, and you're not playing, you're not doing the job,
Yeah.
So it's just like, dude, there's so much mental preparation into this, in the sense of being like, okay, you want to perform, you want to perform at an A+ level status, every night, and show everyone that you enjoy what you're doing and everything like that. But to get to that, you have 23 hours of mentally kind of like existing in a very hard environment, because touring isn't just like, I don't know. Oh man, there's like, I understand that there's like this like big upstart in like, I want to be a touring band member. Like I want to tour, and it's like it seems fun. Or like it seems like a hoot nanny hoedown of just like not caring. And like we don't care. It's just like, dude, shit goes wrong all the time, man. Traveling is really hard. Relationship, keeping relation up to date with like your relationships are really hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's touring is hard. Like touring is not like this like you're shitting rainbows and whatnot. It takes a lot to do this.
Yeah.
You gotta really make sure you're mentally okay with yourself, and you're mentally okay with like your close relationships to be like, this is I'm committing myself to something that I'm passionate about, which is playing in being an entertainer, or just playing your instrument, or both, or anything like that. And yeah, it takes a lot. It's still a work in progress for me too. Every day is a work in progress. So yeah, just try to be okay with yourself. If you're comfortable with yourself, you can get through the day. You know, have your time to play on stage or whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard out here, man.
Yeah.
Touring is a physically and mentally draining thing. But the reward is so the reward is very worth it in my opinion, because you just get to do what you absolutely love to do.
Yeah.
So it's a big yin and the yang. I try to always remind people this is not something that's like it's not VH1 like glorious lifestyle thing. It's a grinding thing. So you got to really make sure you love what you do. And you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I don't mean to like. I don't mean to like scare. I'm not trying to like scare anyone. I'm just trying to be like as real as possible. That like you got to work on yourself and make sure you're okay with yourself. And you're strong-willed. You got this, because you're gonna run into a lot of hardships out here. So
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you usually do to fill your time before you go on each day? Like if you're waking up at 10 and you're not playing till 7.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's like you load in, you set up, you sound check, and then you play and you tear down. But there's like a lot of other time. Yeah, there's a lot of other time. No, I take advantage of the perks of touring, and then like the positives of that is like exploring like the environments that you get into. So like the cities and whatnot, and my handy dandy Yelp app being like, what's cool things? I like to go to record stores, or I like to go to like oddity shops, or like antique stores and see a bunch of like weird shit, or like to a museum and whatnot. So yeah. Is enjoying the perks of it, and go eat food that you've never had before, and go grab a book and find like a nice scenery if it's not like the middle of February, and go sit on a park bench and read a book. It's like it's so cool. Yeah. So this is the other side of the spectrum. Like I just went like into like deep like mental thing of just been like, this place it's hard out here, man. But then it's like there's the other side of it where it's just like there's always a yin to the yang, you know. So
right.
Yeah, which in turn makes it all worth it. It's cool. It's cool.
Dude, thanks so much for letting us into your world. There's not very many. Unfortunately, there's not very many Steve Carey interviews on the interwebs.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
I
appreciate you wanting to just have a conversation with me and have me mumble at you for an hour or so. So I appreciate you just genuinely reaching out. And it's cool because I didn't know who you were up until like what, July, or like a few months back. And it's cool because I haven't met you in person. I've just kind of talked to you via a cell phone, and what these things are always just like a reminder of just how weird life is. That you can just have a natural conversation with someone without like really, never met them in person or whatnot. But it's totally natural, and I appreciate your time very much.
Yeah, dude, we'll have to play some Rocket League soon.
Oh yeah.
That's gotta happen.
Oh, I'm down with that.
Cool, man.
So down with that.
Well, everybody, you're watching Drum Chats. Steve Carey, go check out Census Fail, and hopefully the Color Morale at some point, maybe.
Yeah.
But good talking with you, man.
Yeah, good talking with you too.